Let's have a look.
Is this... I've got my field of view at 106, which I don't know. I mean, that's obviously, if it were a Formula car, I'd be much higher.
Okay, so obviously everyone's different. So I don't ever try and dictate to people what their field of view is. Ultimately, you need to feel comfortable with it. So hang on, you got triples. Have you got 3 screens here?
I have triples, so this is my center screen.
Yeah. Okay.
But
So
you can't see. You can see basically my right screen is just an extension of the windshield at this point. You
yeah.
can't see anything to your right.
So
Left,
this is
I can't see anything really.
this is like I say, kind of personal preference. But can you see my screen at the moment? Because you're seeing my center screen as well. So my center screen. Yeah, I fill up the entire the entire center screen with the windscreen, and then I've got like the side windows on each side. So I've got a very symmetrical setup here. I've got a mirror in each side screen. It feels like the car's wrapped around me. That does mean my screen is smaller though. You know, I'm seeing a smaller image. Obviously, you're like closer to the windscreen. But I've also manually moved my camera to the center of the car. So I'm kind of driving almost like a single-seater feel. I've turned the steering wheel off because I've already... Sorry, go on.
I was going to say, maybe that's what I need to do.
And obviously, you're welcome to try that. Do you know how to do that? How to customize the camera?
I know how to move it. I've done, shifting the driver field of view and the driver height. I don't know how to move it to the right or left, though.
Okay, so if you exit the car, so you're in like the replay screen, and then go on your onboard camera here. So pause it so it doesn't end the run. Just hit pause in the middle of the replay. Otherwise, it kind of kicks you out of the car. And then go in your cockpit view. And then if you hit hit Control and F12 at the same time, and that should bring up this thing here. That's it. And then the thing you need to change, if I can bring mine up. Sorry, I just need to exit my car. And the thing you change is the X. No, not the X-axis. Which one is it? Sorry, let me go in my cockpit. Oh, sorry, it's the Y-axis. It's the Y-axis. So the one in the middle at the top.
Not the vanished Y?
No, all the way at the top where it's got offset. So right at the top of the thing, you've got the Y-axis.
Oh, and I want to see. Can I undo what I just did here?
Yeah, probably. Hang on, I can tell you what those are normally on. Mine's 97, 35, 0, 0.5, 0.
I just reset. I think.
Yeah, that's all. Yeah, yours are all correct now. So it's right at the top where you've got Y.
Yes, I see.
That's it. So mine is on minus 0.189. Obviously, it does mean you'll have the windscreen wiper straight down the middle. So you have to just look past it. I ignore it. I never even notice it personally. I've got my field of view on one. This isn't in this screen actually. This is when I'm in the car. I change the field of view, but it's on like 175 or something. Hang on, can I even see it here?
Let me see if I can.
Yeah, I can't see it unless I'm in the car. Let me jump in the car. But obviously,
that's a little bit better.
So if you've got the steering wheel switched on, obviously it looks a bit weird having it there. So I turn that off. My field of view is on 175 degrees.
175?
Yes.
That far out?
That probably, I don't know why on yours it's coming up different. On mine it says driving FOV 175 degrees, but it's probably just we've got different graphics set up. So do it on. I have it so the windscreen fills the middle screen, and then I've got the carbon fiber kind of cockpit sides are on the side screens, and then I've got the windows on the side screens too. In order to save that camera view though, if you don't want to have to do that every time, you have to save it. So when you go back to your replay screen and you do Control F12 again, you can do Save Car down the bottom.
Okay.
And then
just do...
If you save it as car cam, it should remember it every time. But if you save it as a custom one, you can load it each time if you don't want to have to always be in the middle. So
yeah, I'm going to do LMP2, I guess.
I just find it easier for perspective. I also put the camera up quite high, so I'm on driver height 4.5 centimeters, just so I see above that kind of. Yeah, it means now you can see over that TV screen thing, and you can kind of see down the bonnet slightly. But go wherever you feel comfortable.
All right. Well, we'll try this. I've got the windshield wiper right there, but that's okay.
Yeah, like I say, I just look past it. I'm never even looking at it, because you're never normally looking straight ahead. You're normally looking into the next corner, which is never dead ahead of you if you're on the racing line. You know, you're kind of looking off to the side. And obviously, with your steering wheel switched on there, I'm going to leave that up to you. If you don't mind it there, then that's fine. I find it weird having it on, but
Well, we'll see.
it's easy to turn on and off if you want to switch it on and off.
Yeah. I'll just leave it like this for now.
Cool. You'll certainly probably find it easier to position the car on approach to corners because it's central.
Yeah.
Right, I'm going to get out of my car.
All right.
There we go. Right, I should probably click start recording. Oh, we are recording. Awesome. Right, let's go do some laps. Let's jump on board with you.
Now, I really do not know this car.
Okay.
Or this track.
Okay, so essentially when the tyres are cold, it will be very, very slippery on throttle. It will warm up after about a lap, though.
Yeah, I did notice that. That, like, the first lap, you can basically... It's like ice.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously you're going to be having brand new tyres when you leave the pits in the race, so just be careful with that.
And I forgot
where
I was.
The damage should repair itself if I've set this up properly. Yeah. There we go. Good.
You did. Yeah.
Good. Yep, so this corner will be full throttle. This is an early brake, and I go all the way down to first gear for this one, but I get down to first kind of quite late on. I use first gear for rotation rather than because you necessarily need that gear for to be in the correct rev range. Again, another very early brake and a very gentle trail into the corner. So we're exploring the outer reach of the track. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, unfortunately, I was also using the driving line just because I had no idea like what even to do on this.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, the main thing I'd say, the biggest bit of advice I could give you for this track, if I could only say one thing and then leave you to your own devices, it would be brake early. Like, brake earlier than you think you need to, because invariably that'll mean you're probably still braking quite late, because you've just got so little downforce. And then obviously the second thing, like I said before, just super smooth acceleration in this car. Because your steering wheel is static, it doesn't matter as much. I've just noticed that. Because you've not got the wheel moving around. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't matter as much. On the replay screen I'm watching, it's obviously moving around. This is just all cold tire issues so far. But again, even more reason to brake early and gently. So, when you're in a single-seater with high downforce, like Super Formula or even Super Formula Lights, you kind of nail the brakes really hard initially and then bleed off. In this, it's like 50% of that brake pressure, something like that. That's certainly what it seems like to me. You really feather the brakes in and out. Another place where you brake early. You can use loads of curb through here. You can even use the concrete coloured bit. Right up until it gives you an off-track. Use more and more of that.
Alright.
And then for this whole section...
on that, though, so
no, well done, well done. For this entire section, until we get to the turning point for turn 1, you want to be as tight to the inside as you can be. Don't give away any meters. Even on this straight here, we want to be pressed up against the yellow line on the inside. So absolutely shortest possible distance. And it's only here where you blend up to the edge. So you then can get like a nice straight line down into the first corner. The corner came up a bit earlier than you were expecting there.
It did. I'm also getting used to the new perspective, which is... I'll get it. Am I still going the wrong way?
No, it's all good now.
It says I am.
No, you're good, you're good.
Oh, I left my pit limiter on.
So this is obviously full throttle through here. And it feels like first gear is too low, but until you get to the tightest point in the corner and you think, oh yeah, shit, I should be going slow here.
Yep, that's exactly right.
Okay, so just in advance of the bus stop chicane that's coming up, the technique I use into the bus stop is I do a gentle brake and go down one gear, and then when I'm in the middle of the bus stop, I do another brake and down another gear, or just before I get to the middle, I guess. So it's kind of, on the approach, it's down one, and then just before you turn right, it's down one again. And then obviously accelerating all the way on the exit.
You're just going down 2?
I'm pretty sure. Let me just double check I'm not talking rubbish, but mentally that's what it feels like. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I am. Let's have a look at the data. So, bus stop here. Yeah, just down 2. Just down 2. Okay. So bus stop's fourth gear. Another. Exactly. All right. When you finish this run, I'll show you exactly what I'm doing. And again, first gear feels too low until you get to the middle of the corner and you're like, oh, thank goodness I was down to first gear. It's going to be dependent on your setup as well. We're on the generic Daytona setup from iRacing here. So, obviously, take how this car feels now with a bit of a pinch of salt. Or a grain of salt, I think you guys say in the US. But it'll be somewhere like this. It'll be something like this.
Braked a little too early there.
Yeah, and that's fine as a starting point. You know, we can always creep up to that slightly higher speed on the way in. Okay, so your downshifts look like they were, in the right kind of position. You braked obviously slightly early for the bus stop itself, so we'll build up a little bit of confidence through there. That's the one corner where you can go in quite fast. You don't want to scrub off too much speed, but obviously there's a bit of judgment there, because if you go in a bit too quick, then you will understeer wide. So we'll nail that by the end.
All right.
The guy behind has just done a 143.85.
My aim for today is for you to finish with quite a good idea of what we're aiming at, even if you haven't absolutely perfected it yet. Just like a good target to practice at.
Great. Yeah, and I figure we can use the next session also.
Exactly. Yeah, and we'll start doing different conditions and different light levels and that kind of thing. It's quite a well illuminated track, this. It's not like a typical night race. You're not going off into the forest at the Nürburgring or something.
That's not a track I've ever tried.
I think we are going to do the Nürburgring 24 hours as a get faster team this year, so you can try it. Yeah, cool. So brake a little bit later this time because it's not a very tight corner, so just a gentle braking down one, nice, and then same again. Yeah, so that wasn't far off. Obviously, you did go through the middle a bit too fast, but that just means we'll now adjust how hard you brake for that initial part. So that was just maybe slightly too gentle, right. But not a million miles off. You didn't get an off track. You didn't get a slow down or anything like that.
The guy behind has just done a 142.52.
That was nice and tidy through the middle there. Looks
I'm
very
already feeling
calm.
a little better.
Doesn't look like you're overheating the tyres or scrubbing. That's the thing you want to avoid, is like having tyre scrub because you've gone way too quick into a corner. You want to keep the tyres just like within their limit, but near the edge of that limit. It's nice. That's a nice approach into there. Yeah, big, good, nice gain on the exit there. Okay, so aim this time for the bus stop is still to be pretty quick on the entry to the left-hand part, but make sure you scrub off enough speed before you turn right that it doesn't understeer deep into the corner. So your second brake might want to be a little bit harder. That actually looked quite a lot quicker than last time.
Well,
So-
I couldn't quite get it under control.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm just, whilst you're doing your slowdown, I'm just going to watch it back, actually. Okay, so there's a combination of things. We were a little bit too gentle on the initial brake, and actually didn't use enough curb. We skirted round the edge of the curb, and it made the corner very, very tight when you got there. That was all. So that's all right. That's an easy fix. You might have got away with that speed if you'd used more of the initial curb. Let's do maybe 2 more laps after this one, just so we've definitely got something representative.
I wanted to see if I could, I don't know. I was trying to see, I thought I could brake a little later, basically.
We'll do 2 more anyway. And, right, okay, this time, into this first chicane, don't be afraid of the curb. So I'd rather you gone off track for cutting the left curb, so the very, very first curb too much. I'd rather you got that than you missed it, if that makes sense. So,
Okay.
see if you can spot the curb coming up, and then as you brake, just angle over to the yellow bit. That was slightly more than before, so that was a little bit better, but there's still quite a lot more. I'm going to look at the replay. How much more could we use? Okay, so yeah, you could still use an entire car width more than that. So, and that'll make the corner really easy by comparison. That entry curb sets up all of the rest of the corner and makes it easier. This will all be much more obvious when I show you it back on the replay.
Okay.
Decent start there. Good first corner.
I'm feeling a lot better about that. I couldn't get around it the other day. See what you mean about gentle on the throttle?
Yep. You can afford to let it run a little wider as well if you want to on the exit for that one, just to have less steering angle. Okay, so remember, last time, even though you used the curb, you still had a whole car width to your left that you could use more. So you can cut a bit more. Yes, that's more like it. And look how easy that makes the rest of it. Really good.
Yeah,
Okay, so I know you got an off track, but you didn't get a slowdown. So, and I didn't see exactly which part you got the off track for. It might have been that you used a tiny bit too much, but that was way closer to the ideal amount. So now it's just a case of fine tuning that. But good job.
I think it was that second curb that you go over before
Okay.
the final one.
Yeah, okay. So maybe because you opened it up so much, it was too easy to cut the middle part that time. Because normally you can't get anywhere near that because it's under steering wide. Right, so we'll do this last one and then we'll just take whichever the best one was and just dig into the low-hanging fruit. Remember, you can run a little wider on the exit here. That's cool. Just means it gives you permission to remove the steering angle slightly earlier, which means then you can get on the power harder.
Brake too heavy there. Was excited about my purple.
Okay. So what you're doing on the exit there, where you're taking like a short distance, is really good. It's easy to go too wide on the exit there and just cover too much ground, so you've got the right idea through there. Okay, so this time through the bus stop, same again with the entry curb, but just don't cut too much in the middle. Use as much as you can without going on the grass, basically. I think you just turned a bit too late. I think that was almost like you were scared of getting the off track, so you delayed the turn in a bit. Yeah, I can see. You went, instead of going left, right, you went left, right, and then it was just too late. You were a bit too deep in. That's okay. You have to get this wrong loads of times before, cause, you know, you need to be doing this, like I said earlier, in the middle of the night, in the dark, and it needs to just be muscle memory anyway, so. Okay, so feel free to park it up wherever you want, and we'll have a look at what we've got so far. And, oh, you're quite well up, actually, at the moment. You can carry on if you want. No, it's all right. It's gone. No, it's fine. I think you were because you went a bit too quick into the corner anyway, so. Right, once you hop out of the car, I'll load that data up. But good start. Nice one.
All right.
Let's find your lap on here.
I'll stop sharing mine so we don't, like, just see it.
Yeah, no problem. Let's go with... Okay, so yeah, the one you did there where you went through the bus stop. The one where we went a bit too deep in the bus stop, that final lap, you got purple in quite a few sectors there, but we'll go with the previous lap.
Okay.
Even though I know you can go quicker now, you'll just smash it on the next run. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Right, let's just change the colours around so I don't get confused. There we go. Right, okay. So, let's have a little... Okay, so if we were to just look at this as an overview, if I didn't say a word to you and asked you where are you losing most time, I reckon you can probably just point to it immediately and tell me which corner. So, that means we'll go straight to that as our low-hanging fruit.
It's, well, it's that bus stop. Right?
Yeah, it's the bus stop here, isn't it? That's where we're... When you look at the delta, from pretty much here... all the way around to here. I know that's like the banked corner, but it's a significant part of the lap down from there to there. It's a good, at least a quarter, if not a third of the lap. You're only losing a couple of tenths, 1.5 to 2 tenths max. So then we get into the bus stop and you go from 2 seconds down to, you know, we lose 2.5 seconds by the finish. And that was probably the best one you did through there. So it's worth us focusing on that for the moment and seeing exactly where you can gain some time. So let's start off by watching your lap through there. This was your fastest lap. Let's just get to the bus stop. We'll come back and we'll look at the rest afterwards, but this is the one I want us to... If you can halve that deficit, you're gaining over a second, so that'll be good. Right, so into the bus stop. We'll look at the outside view as well in a moment, but this is just the inside view. Lots of curb. And then actually... we slowed it down so much in the middle that it kind of turned too well. So this, I don't think you got an off track for that. I think
I get the off track at the next, when I go back over the curb.
So this, I think, is the perfect amount of curb to use. Like, look at that. You're like really maximizing it. So, and look at the angle the car's at. You're kind of facing where you want to be facing. You're not aiming over at the grass here. You're following the shape of this concrete, which kind of filters you into the exact right turning point here. So this is great. What then happens next, though, is I think you actually end up braking too hard because when you do your normal line where you go a bit wider here, you have to brake harder because you've got a more acute angle to negotiate. On this line, you don't have to brake that hard. And then what happens is it turns so well, you end up turning onto the grass by mistake. So
that's where I got the off track.
Yeah, so we want to be in a position where you're going fast enough that can't happen. You know, you're still going to be going through here. In fact, we actually want to use more of this curb too. So we're going to cut across that a bit too. I'll check my replay in a moment just before I really confirm that. But I'm pretty sure I'm cutting across. That feels like it. But the main thing is we should be going quicker here. So what are we doing? 146k. Obviously, I don't want you to look at the speedo, but yeah. So your minimum speed is 146. So we're nearly 50 kilometers an hour down, roughly something like that. 45 kilometers down in the middle, which shows there's a lot more speed to carry, and it's obvious when you zoom in why. You're just braking much harder. So where I'm doing like a medium brake and off, and then a medium brake and off. I'm braking when I want the car to rotate, basically. So I'm braking on the first part to get it turned in, and when it's aiming in, I'm off the brakes and letting the thing roll, and then another brake to get it to turn right. So basically, I'm trying to force weight on the nose, like weight on the nose, turn left, weight on the nose, turn right, whereas you are braking all the time. So you're like slowing, and obviously that's why the speed trace drops so significantly. So the car can definitely do it. It can go through much quicker than that, and it will suddenly feel easy when you use the brakes for the purpose of turning, but not like over slowing. So let's just watch it in full speed, and then I'm going to show you my... Oh, actually, also on the approach, we're giving away a bit of distance here. And that'll mean you'll have an even better angle, or it'll be easier to get the ideal angle into here, just because you'll be coming in from a nicer trajectory. Yep. Let's just watch this again, though. Yeah, I think it's missing this curb, coupled with being a bit too slow, means it's really easy to cut this one too much by mistake, and we're just generally going a bit slow. So let's just look as a comparison, just so you've seen it in kind of, with more downforce acting on the car and at a slightly higher speed. Let's just zoom to there. Right, I'll do onboard first. Here we go. So it's brake in, and then from the outside.
Where are you braking the second time?
Let's have a look. So we'll be able to see on my little bar down here.
Yep.
So for the first part, is there any reference point? Okay, so it's before the 1. It's after the 2.
I'm sort of using after that that yellow kind of marker and before the 1.
Yeah, it's just before I arrive at the 1. There, the brakes come on. Yep. Okay, so let's go out here, and then off, and then again. So it's there.
Okay.
So just before I want it to turn right, and I wasn't imagining things. I'm really using this curb as well. So I don't want to be deep here because it's gonna go this deep anyway. It's almost like a constant turn.
Full throttle the whole way after that.
So yeah, once it's turned here, it's full throttle, and that naturally pushes the car wide here, but you've got just enough space that you don't get an off track, and it makes it through. So it's just a slightly different compromise from what we were doing before. But yeah, so medium brake, off, medium brake again. So there's only like a little gap just here, but it's just enough to get it turned. And then by the time you're in the middle here, we should be able to be full throttle again. You won't necessarily be able to do that straight away because there's quite a lot of timing involved, but at least you know what you're aiming at there. So, okay, let's not dwell on that corner anymore because I think that's it. We've gone through everything that you need to do there. So let's just scoot to the next lowest hanging fruit, which is probably this one. This one here. This one round onto the back straight, or onto the back banked corner into the straight. So let's have a look at this one here. Your brake shape is
I'm just
excellent.
Not sure where to be braking.
Yeah, your brake trace is really good. It's really, like, the amount of pressure you're applying and the way you're bleeding off is really good. So the only negative really is we're braking at 2031. Okay, it's only 10 meters. It's not massively different, but it's something. So that is basically just slightly later, but don't be tempted to go harder because then you'll be likely to lock up. So just edge it maybe 5 meters later on the next one, but keep the trace the same. So don't be spooked into nailing it harder, having a lock-up. One thing I can see here, though, is in terms of the distance, it looks on the GPS like we're not using all the track. So let's just watch your one into there. And then we'll just have a bit more of like a general look over the whole lap, just to kind of do a bit of a sweep up. I know we're kind of working backwards here, but... Right, yeah, there's this gap here. And it seems almost trivial, but what it does mean is when you get to here, you've just got a narrower track. You're having to go slower, you're having to use more steering angle, and there's free speed by being wider here, and free grip because you've got less steering angle. I'm having to turn the wheel less physically than you are, simply by moving a bit further to the right on the straight, that's all.
I think I'm like now trying to stay in the middle of the track because of this marbles thing you were telling
Yeah,
me about.
that's mainly turn one though. That's really, really mainly turn one. So yeah, don't worry about it for the other corners. It's really mainly here. It's this area over here. If you try and go really wide out here, which looks like it'd be more of the ideal line, this gets covered in crap. So that's the main thing. I'll show you mine in just a second anyway, because I did notice into this second, well, proper corner, turn 3 it probably is, but this one as well, you were kind of staying quite far to the right. I mean, look how far we are here. But we're really far to the right. And I'm pretty sure I'm not even thinking about that. I just want to get all the way left. Let's just have a little look. So turn 1. Yeah, that's the kind of gap I'm giving to the edge. So you don't have to be like super, super narrow, but it's just kind of staying away from the really crappy bit out at the edge here. That'll just allow you to be a little tighter in the middle here, this flat bit, rather than it pushing a bit deeper. But definitely for this next one, yeah, I'm going all the way out here, not down the inside here. So that'll give you a little bit more freedom and a little bit more space into here. You know, I was saying on the exit you can run wider as well. I mean, out kind of past this yellow curb here, you can go all the way out into this bit of extra runoff. And what that then frees up is, it means you can be on the gas from back here. I mean, all the way back here. We're not even at the apex yet, and we're starting to pick up the throttle because I know my track goes over here.
Whereas, let it run. Okay.
Yeah, whereas you were restricting yourself to a tighter track, which meant you had more steering, so you couldn't accelerate as hard. Let's just have a little scoot through. There's not that many corners on this track, so there's not too many things to look at. So yeah, you can have the freedom to go a little bit wider here, just not all the way wide like you did on your practice from before. That then
was
gonna
probably just a lot of understeering I was having
maybe
to,
yeah.
I think.
That'll then allow you to stay tighter here. This is like the crucial bit where you cover more distance, and you can get your steering angle off earlier if you're tighter here. This is obviously full throttle. We've just discussed you can go all the way. You can cut across here. Just watch out for people exiting the pits if it's the race, because it's easy to crash into someone who's just left the pits here because they're kind of blind to you here because of the pit wall. So yeah, if they're slightly behind you, it's quite easy to cut across the nose of a GT3 car or something here. But obviously today that's not a problem. That'll then allow you to get on the power earlier here because now you're allowed to go all the way over there.
Right. Okay.
This next bit, let's have a look. I think you can turn earlier into here. Let's go on the cockpit view. So it's obviously full throttle. I'm aiming to get right over to this little bit of extra asphalt on the inside here. It certainly feels like it. Let's look at the data because that's got the GPS trace. So we're talking, yeah, this corner here. Yeah, good. Look, I'm not imagining things. I'm going in earlier and getting really to the inside. Just travelling less distance, but also it means you're positioned on the left earlier for braking for the next corner. You're not having to pull the car across during the braking phase for that one. So, yeah, so look, as you approach this flat out kink, I don't know what it's called. I'll need to learn the names of this track, the corners, but I'm already looking over there and you've got quite a lot of grip at this point. So I just turn smoothly in early and do a shorter distance. Yeah, you can actually see it more obviously here, how we're just going further than we need to around here. And then similar to some of the other places, we just want to be slightly wider in the braking zone here. And you did even manage a lock-up, so you're obviously braking pretty much on the limit there. Well done for just about making it in. Obviously, we want to be super tight around the apex here as well. That's going to be a bucket load of time as well. If you do short, neat distances in those slow corners, you'll see such a big green delta on your lap time delta. I'm just going to now show you short, clean apexes, hopefully. So we've already seen this one with the first hairpin. This is where I said I was turning in, like looking in early and just going, there we go, really, really early and aiming to be on top of that yellow curb. And then again, let's just see. So yeah, definitely all the way left. And when I said short, clean apex, I mean like really slow at this point. Like I'm still braking here. Even though I'm tight, I'm still braking because I want to make sure the nose gets right the way in and stays in to the apex here. And that then means, again, I can be full throttle earlier, or certainly hard on the throttle, because I've got so much room to move into because I'm not already in it, if you see what I mean. So that's when that really helps. And even though I'm on the throttle, look, it's still staying tight because I've slowed it down so much and I'm on the nice clean bit of the track as well. And then you run wide when the corner ends, rather than kind of earlier on. Okay, so main takeaways. Bus stop chicane is going to be the big time gain. We're going to use lots of curb on the first one, as you did before, but we're going to go brake, off brake, lots of curb on the second one, and then pick up the throttle early, and then, so it's kind of curb, 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 but not curb, nothing, grass, curb,
Right.
if that makes sense. And you're getting the flow. Now you've seen it as well, and you know what I'm on about. We're going to use a little bit more width on the entry to turn 1 and be tighter in that middle phase of the corner rather than running wide in the middle phase of the corner. We're going to use all the width on the entry to turn 3, the first hairpin. Here, we're then going to cut more. We're going to run wider on the exit. We're going to cut earlier and tighter through this flat-out left-hander. We're going to be similarly slow on the entry to this long right-hander, but really slow at the apex to allow this neat turn and short distance. And then this one, the only thing you needed to do is brake slightly later, but don't change how you're braking, because it was actually really good, the brake trace.
Can you show me where you're braking there?
Yep, let's have a look. I'll go on the cockpit so you've got a proper visual reference. Okay, so we're nearly at the 100 board. Just after the 100 board, just here.
So kind of where the white line is, or where it curves off.
Where the concrete ends,
Yeah.
that's where my brakes come on, like just about here.
Okay.
So in slow-mo, there.
Got it. Okay. You can do
But you don't necessarily try and push the braking zone, just a little bit more than before, that's all.
Yeah.
That's it. Right, loads to remember,
Right.
so sorry about that. Let's go.
No, that's all right. Here, let's. I'll share my
Let's do it.
screen.
Yeah, it is nice watching your screen, because although I'm watching it anyway on mine, I get to see your delta, which is useful.
Well, let's see. I might even be able to. Not that you necessarily need this, but here you can see me.
Hey,
in
cool.
the
We've
t-shirt
got, this is great.
that I've been. Just ignore any of the clothes on the bed behind me. All right.
Your house looks similarly decorated to ours. That's basically what
this
my
is
room
sort
looks
of
like.
the guest room / my study / office thing. So, all right.
Right, let's do it.
I think for some reason my traction controls stuck it. Oh.
That's
Did
all
I-
right. It'll fix itself.
All right. It gave me a stop and go.
That's
Guess
all
I
right.
didn't have
I'll just clear that. There we go. If you hang on, I'll clear that one as well. Clear penalties. There you go. So obviously all the normal things about lap 1, cold tyres. So don't worry too much about this one. You can still go through the motions of being accurate with the lines. That's just the first lap cold tyres. That wouldn't do that in like a minute's time. So it's still good practice to know that that's going to happen though. Have you gone down to 7 frames per second? Can you hear me, Brad? Can you hear me? Brad, can you hear me? Testing, testing. Can you hear me? So if you can hear me, I noticed that your stream or your iRacing was going down to like 7 frames per second. So I don't know if that is a snow internet issue. Oh, hang on, a message. Oh, you can hear me. Okay, cool. Awesome. Okay, I can't hear you for some reason. I can't see Discord. I can't see Discord receiving your audio. It's not showing me it is anyway. Okay, no problem. I'm watching your replay screen anyway, so I can still see what you're doing, and it's still recording, so... I'll just assume you can hear me, and I'll just talk at you. Yeah, much better already. Much better already. That was way faster, even though it's the outlap. So just put that into practice on warm tyres and build the muscle memory of how quickly you go from left to right and exactly where you apply the brakes there. But that was good. Well done for keeping it off the grass. That one definitely looked like you forgot which corner you were at. Yes. Just get these out of your system so you don't do it on the first lap of your endurance stints, because your teammates won't like you. Okay, that's tidy. That's more like it. Smooth throttle. Nice. So you were good through the bus stop on the outlap, so let's do that again. I think that was not enough braking, and probably not enough curb, actually, on the entry. Let's remove any penalties. I'm going to just watch it back myself whilst you negotiate that next corner. Yeah, so we basically missed the entry curb. And then we were going... Yeah, you missed the entry curb, and you were going like 20 kilometers an hour quicker than me through the middle. So, double whammy, that one. Okay, that line, that was all really good. We just didn't quite brake enough on the way to that apex. But your approach and where you positioned the car was good there. And that's nice. Use all the exit. Yeah, okay, so you've seen where too much gas is, but you had the right idea. So do that again, but pick up the throttle very gently initially. Don't nail it too soon. That was just a bit late on the brakes for that one. You're on the right line on the approach. You just braked a good 50 metres later than me, I think. And you had your left tyres on the grass. That's nice again. So that's quickly becoming your best corner, that one. So some of these corners already are looking really, really tidy. Okay, that's pretty decent. I wouldn't be surprised if that was your fastest bus stop. I can't see your delta, but you made it through. You braked pretty late. According to at least the audio I'm hearing, you braked after the number 1 board, which is later than I would. So you did well to get it through there. Okay, so again, approach into turn 1 is not bad at all. Just need to be braking a bit harder initially, and then a slightly harder trail. So you are really going slow enough to make that apex at turn 1. I can see you starting to get tighter in the middle of that one. And again, that's looking pretty nice through there, so I like that one. Okay, good job on the exit there. Really good on the exit. And that's despite kind of missing the first curb. You got the rest of it really well nailed. Just the entry, we were maybe too late turning it in. Just want to go in a little earlier into the initial part of that, but with gentle steering. So kind of earlier, but you don't steer as hard, and then you'll get there at the right time. But you made the most of the end of the corner. And it's your quickest lap so far. That's good. So get it really stopped for turn 1. Really, really slow at the apex. Even slower than that next time, so you can be right up against the wall. That's better than the last one, though. Okay, I can see what you're doing there. We're gonna fix the reason that it's pushing wide there is actually because we're going a little bit too slow early on, but we'll fix that later. That's easily rectified. That's more like it through there, so well done. You were closer in the middle. So if you can do the bus stop the same as you did it last time, but with using more of the left curb this time, so kind of like edge the car in with smooth steering nice and early, then you'll be perfect. Because the middle bit was really good. Look at that. Lovely. Easy. And actually, again, you probably ended up going a bit too slow in the middle because you got on the grass on the in the middle part of the corner, but you're so close to being perfect through there. If you'd done exactly that, but picked up the throttle earlier, you wouldn't have made it to the grass, and you'd have carried a bit more speed. So you're now pretty much in the ballpark. So we want to be mega under control and tight at the apex of turn 1. Good job. Okay, really, really good starting point there. That's nice. And be careful with the gas at first, and then give it more and more. Good. Okay, that's the tidiest I've seen you do it. That's the best variation I've seen so far. So now we'll just maximise that. Oh, that was the grass. Just caught the grass on the entry. Very consistent through that one. Nice. Yeah, you're really getting used to it now. You're getting used to that bus stop. That's nice. I'm just going to go back and look at the speed. So before you were doing like 146. Yeah, you're like 20, 30 kilometers an hour quicker than you were before through the middle. So you're definitely way faster. Nice. Good job. Really good job. You're building a kind of smoothness now. Same with this one. So like, roll it into the apex. Very gently pick up the throttle. Gradually unwind the steering. Nice. And with this next left-hander, where I say turn in early, just turn in gently and early so you don't get to the inside too soon. That's great. Really good. Oof, you touched the grass again, but you just about got off the brakes in time. Nice and tight in the middle. So, obviously, without that oversteer on power, you'd have been perfect through there. So, just remember to be careful getting on the gas. But you're doing a good job. This is nice.
Can you hear me in everything? I just thought about it.
Yeah, I can. I can.
Okay, we'll just do that then.
Little bit too slow turning right, I think, that time.
Yeah.
And maybe slightly fast. I'm just going to check the speed. So you're doing... Speed was actually okay, but I think, yeah, you went left, right. Yeah, you didn't turn right until you were after the right-hand curb. And we need to turn right before you actually get to the right-hand curb. Let's do 2 more.
It already feels so much better.
Yeah, it looks like you know what you're aiming at now. It's nice. It's a really difficult car and track combo, so it's hard to get to grips with it because you've got not enough downforce for the corners. You're doing well. There's more we'll work on the next session, but this is a really good starting point now. So yeah, smooth turn in here. Lovely. Don't touch the grass. And then once you get it tight to the inside, be careful with the throttle. And then as you unwind the steering, nail it. Yeah, really good. That looked nice. That was good. Good.
Kind of fun now.
Don't think we quite scrubbed enough speed off on the first brake. That was all. That first one was maybe a little too gentle. Yeah, I'm watching. Yeah, you were still doing like 222k or something as you entered the right-hand part. So that was just. At least you're confident though with the amount of grip you've got. You just don't quite have that much grip. But you don't need to make a big change for that to be perfect. That's just a little bit more braking initially. That's all. And that's still one of your best laps, despite that being a bit of a rubbish bus stop on that lap. So well done. Right, let's do one more. I think we got on the gas a bit too soon that time. So for the angle that the car was at, yeah, it just started to push on. I think... Yeah, that'll be obvious when we watch that replay back. I'm going to show you this lap back, actually. So even if this isn't your fastest, we'll watch this replay afterwards. But we'll use the data from your fastest lap just to make a couple of notes. So that was several things at once. But definitely, as you felt, you missed the curb. So we just turned in a bit too late. And I think we were going too quick when it happened. I'm watching now.
Yeah, I realized I was not over far enough.
Yeah, you weren't over far enough, and you were doing about 20 kilometers an hour more than normal when you got to the curb as well. So, yeah, that's all right. We just finished this one, and then once you've crossed the line, feel free to park up anywhere. We should still be able to communicate in iRacing, even when you're not in the car. You should still be able to talk to me in the replay screen. So,
All right.
that was actually more like it. Yeah, that was more like it through there. Nice. Man, if you manage to use the curb in the bus stop, this could be a good one. So just don't be greedy with the entry speed, but also don't be a wimp with the entry speed. So just find that middle ground where you're under control, but you're not like stopping the car, and use loads of curb. That's it. Perfect. Go. Lovely. Really tidy. If you can do that every lap in an endurance race, then you'll be laughing. That's great.
All right, I'll finish this one.
Yeah. Yeah, get it over the line. Nice. Good job. Finishing with the best one.
Cool. Yeah.
Right. So if you hop out of the car, let's just use that replay. There we go. I'm going to get the data up for that as well. We'll make notes on this one. Hopefully it's loaded. Yep, it's loaded. There we go. Oh, it deleted your previous one. That's not very useful.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with my Discord. Sometimes it just loses.
Yeah, I've noticed this from before. I don't know why. I don't know why it does that.
All of a sudden, I had the epiphany. Oh, I can just use the iRacing.
Yeah, at least we've got a fallback. Right, which lap were we using before? It was that one, wasn't it? It was that one there. So I'll add that as well, just so we've still got your previous one to compare against. So yeah, let's make that red because that's what it was before. Cool. Okay, so let's just have a look over the lap. Yeah, so although there's still time to find through the bus stop, that's much better. You're losing significantly less time. So you're 2 seconds down, and you've found a second through the bus stop. So there's more to find. We'll keep working on it, but I think in a 1 hour session where you're not doing 1 hour of driving, that's a decent chunk to find. Other places, look at this. You know, we went to here and we said this was probably like the next place where there was time to find. Well, now there's very little time to find there. Look at that. You've really changed that. So great stuff. That's like really, really nice to see. How much are you actually losing there? So if we take here 0.1775, let's say there's the exit. It's okay. So we're like 2 and a bit tenths rather than a lot more than that. So that's good. Really, really good. Okay, so let's start at the beginning and work through, and I'll make some notes on here. So
looks like I can brake a little. Looks like I was braking a little too early.
Yeah, we can brake later and harder for that first corner. So that's one thing we'll do, because now your line is good. Now, when you look at the green and the blue lines into the first corner, you're exactly out to where I am on the approach. The main difference, interestingly, is I'm covering fewer meters because our minimum speeds are really close. So you're right, you're braking slightly earlier and slightly more gently, so there is time to find in that kind of braking phase from the initial brake down to the apex. How much is that actually? Yeah, okay, so there is quite a lot. It's half a second actually in that braking zone, but there's also a massive amount of risk in that braking zone. So let's build up to that. If you can find 2/10, that would be amazing, because I'm definitely not far off what the limit is into there. And if you overstep the limit, you're going in the barriers. And I've seen people on the last 5 minutes of the 24 hours destroy their car here by getting a bit too greedy, especially when there's loads of marbles. And we're in a session here where there aren't really any marbles. So don't read too much into that half second. But the thing we can definitely change is the distance you're covering through the first corner, because this position's great. You're doing roughly the same, well, okay, a lower speed than me, so it should turn in well, say 6 kilometers an hour less. But because you turn in a bit later, you end up just carrying more meter, just travelling further and losing a bit more time there. So we'll just aim to be a bit tighter to the wall through the middle part of that. But let's just make that note. So we'll say potential, if I can type properly, here we go. Potential to brake a little later and harder. But with the understanding that there's more risk involved. That's why I don't just want you to, try and be the last of the late breakers there. You'll gain more over a race distance from being neat as you were there. Okay, exit there. What's happening here? Why are we slower? If I zoom in here, why are you slower here to here when we're on a flat out straight? What's going on? What's different? Right, you're short shifting. That's why. Okay, so let it rev longer. I'm going quicker than you, and I'm still changing gear later. So from the exit of turn 1 until the hairpin, right here, you're only 6 kilometers an hour slower than me. And by here, you're 10 kilometers an hour slower than me, and you carry that to the next corner. And that's all because you're changing up a little early, and you're not getting the full benefit of the power the engine's got. So yeah, so you changed up at, this is new for Garage 61, having revs, so this is quite useful. You're changing up at 7,000 revs, and I'm waiting till 8,000 revs. So yeah, a whole 1,000 revs different.
I can't see the rev limiter anymore.
Okay.
I'm not paying attention to it as much.
I can't see it either. I'm purely using my ears, so we'll just make sure you're comfortable with the audio of when you should be changing, just the tone and the pitch. It is difficult in this car. I hit the limiter a few times, but I'd rather you hit the limiter than you were constantly giving away like 1,000 revs at the top of the rev range, because there's quite a big power difference between 7,000 revs and 8,000. I don't have the power figure here, but if this car has 400 horsepower, you might only be using, in this part of the track at least, you might only be using 320 horsepower, whereas I'm getting up to 400. So that's why there's that gap there. So there we go. That's free lap time. Easy. Look how much better you are through the middle of this corner. Look how much better that is. It's like dramatically better. Your minimum speed has been lifted by 14 kilometers an hour, and you're taking a better line through there. Look at that. So the only thing we'll now change is we can be even wider on the approach and maybe not quite as wide on the exit. So if anything, you were maybe getting on the throttle a little bit harder than me there, and you're on a tighter line, so that's why you're pushing wider. So I was waiting a little bit longer to build the throttle up. And if you look at my blue throttle trace here, this is the real key. This makes me feel good because I'm actually doing a thing right here. Look how smooth the blue throttle application is, and how the green and the red is like, it's a step, and then you're having to wait, and then it's another step. But that initial aggressive throttle application is what's pushing you off line here, because you've got a bit too much steering angle on there to get away with that. So just be really like buttery smooth in the way you build the throttle on the exit. And that'll mean not only will you match me here, but you'll also match me here, rather than having that little gap. So, I'm supposed to be making notes here, aren't I? I didn't do that. Right, okay, so we want to say, use all the revs. Don't short shift. And then we're going to say into this corner here, slightly wider on approach, only a little bit. You're most of the way there now. And smoother throttle application. It did feel like you were getting on the power at the right time, but you were still being pushed really wide. And it now makes sense. Having seen that, it's because you're getting on the power, look, almost at identical time to me. It's just you ramp up slightly higher and you're tighter. You know, your line isn't quite the same because you've got more steering angle. So there we go. Right, that's that. That'll fix that. Then this next flat out kink, you were way better. You can see on the map here. Look at that, way better. Initially, when you were going through there earlier, you were turning in at the right time, but too fast. You know, your rate of steering was a bit high. So you got to the inside too early, and then it was throwing you wide on the exit. But then as the session went on, you turned in at the right point, but smoother, and it all looked completely smooth and nice. And so that's great. Really, really good. So this is all good. In fact, I'm going to just give you a little... At this point here, I'll just give you like a green. Good. Then into this corner. Okay, be wary of the grass. And I know I'm saying get tight, but you can see from the map here, although you are reaching the apex here, because you've gone in a little bit earlier than me, you're going in narrower, and that means when you reach the apex, it's still trying to throw you wide. So just delay the turn in, even though you can see... This is really good, actually, the map here. It really shows you the shape of this corner. It's all a bit weird. The corner has kind of started here, but your job as a driver to maximise this is to effectively continue the straight a bit longer. So although the track is kinking in, just go straighter a bit longer and then smoothly arc in. Okay. And you'll still get to the apex at roughly the same time, but you'll have arrived there at a slightly less acute angle. And that'll just make it easier to stay tight here. Yeah. Then you'll end up with this nice kind of flat line where you're taking a really short distance and your steering's really straight at that point. You have a lot less steering angle on there. I wonder if I zoom in, if I can zoom in here, if it will show us the steering angle. Yeah, you see here how right at this point here, the blue steering angle stops increasing, or it stops at 83. Whereas because of the line you're on, you're having to carry on, and you're now at 106, 107, 108, so there's more steering angle, whereas mine is now reducing at that point. And right here, you can see how fast that angle comes off. So mine's at 80 degrees, and yours at 107, and now it's 79, 78, 76, 75, 74, 72. Yours is still at 107, 68, you know, and that's what's allowing me to get on the power harder, and that's all because of that line. That you've got it rotated here, whereas you're doing the rotation over a longer period because of that entry line. So let's make a little note here, if I can zoom out further, right here. So delay the main turn in a little longer. It makes the middle and the exit easier. And allows steering angle removal earlier. Cool. Okay. Next corner, I think we're just going to give you a thumbs up because this is just almost exactly the same as me. So almost perfect. What is there we could do better if we're going to pick hairs? Okay. The only thing you could do different is something I probably don't want you to do, which is break a fraction, you're like 3 meters earlier than me. So don't try. If you naturally find slightly more through there, brilliant. But if you can do that in the race, you'll be quicker than everyone. So that's brilliant. And I'm glad it shows that because it looked like that when I was watching you do it too. That's how it felt. So that's good. This is obviously all fine. And interestingly, that you're not short shifting here. So I think you do have an audible reference. I think maybe you're distracted on the exit of turn 1 or are thinking about something else because here, if anything, you're slightly later than me changing up. So this is fine. And look at the way the speed matches my speed. So it's not that you're incapable of choosing the right shift point. It's just for whatever reason, in between turn 2 and 3, you weren't on that lap. And then, so let's just give you a green here.
I was also maybe thinking about stopping, and then it was like, oh, well, this is going well. So
yeah. That's potentially it as well. And then bus stop, much better, but more to come. Let's look at.
Need to brake less at first.
Yeah, look, I mean you can see it here. Yeah, you're at the right point though now, and you're doing brake off brake. It's just you're doing a really hard brake.
Formula braking.
Yeah, you're doing hard and then reducing it. Whereas what we're trying to do here, I've got these two like rounded mounds of braking because we're not actually trying to stop the car. You're just trying to scrub off enough speed smoothly for it to negotiate a very gentle curve. It's not a very tight angle you're trying to get through here. You're just trying to reduce the speed so that it can do this gentle left, gentle right, gentle left. So you don't need to stop it hard like you are there. So that's the next thing. That's the next step, is the rounded smooth braking. You can also see mine slightly longer. So although it's less, I've still got the weight on the nose here, which probably just lets it stay a little bit tighter here. And even on your best lap there, look, we weren't quite as tight as the blue one was. So there's a little bit more there. But you're so much closer, so much better. Let's just make a note on here, actually. We will work on more rounded, lower intensity braking. But, you know, you've gone the right direction, so I can't ask for much more than that. And then the exit, this is all good. What happens here? Oh, that's okay. And this time, actually, you did hit the rev limiter. I can see just there. You can, without even looking at the gears, you can see there, the speed plateau means you hit the limiter. And then when you look down at the revs, it's on the limiter. So there we go. So
Yep.
we've had the whole gamut of too early and too late, but I'll leave that because I know you didn't mean to. So that's it. Good job. Let's stop the recording because that's probably